The Nicky Grist stages would see the long-awaited and highly anticipated return of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship, and indeed gravel rallying, the season getting off to a slightly delayed start in the forests around the Epint military ranges here. Gary Pearson leading the BTRDA registered cruiserweight in car 12, with George Lepley returning this season in that WD-40 backed Evo. He would be followed by a host of new and old returning faces in the BTRDA that we are so pleased to see. 4 stages lie ahead of the cruise then, repeated again in the afternoon. A good mix of fast and technical roads. And with the rain staying away remarkably, it was looking like dust would play its part in the proceedings this weekend. It has felt like so long since we could say this, but onto those stages we go. And it would be a great start, impressing from the off for Elliot Payne and Cameron Fair. They were running in the national section of the rally, but opted not to do a recce of the stages crucially, which means they could score the all-important BTRDA points. This would be the first season in an R5 car for Payne. Dad Charlie, of course, a regular and a former champion in this series. Things clearly going well though. They lead the rally after the morning stages. Dad will be pleased. Things were not going quite so smoothly though for Callum Black and Jack Morton. A broken anti-roll bar would need to be removed after the first stage of the day, causing some handling issues for the rest of the morning and a spin on stage 2. Apart from that though, the times were still looking pretty good, the pair lying in second place overall. No such dramas to report for this pair, Ian Bainbridge and Will Atkins. They were a little further back on the seeding than they would have wanted to be, so dust was starting to cause them an issue in a few places. But third place in the BTRDA standings was a good start to this round. Where had that WD-40 Evo got to then? A spin on stage 2 would cost George Lepley and Tom Woodburn a little time. They were still trying to get back into things after such a long time away, although some seat time at Goodwood the day before the event would have helped a little. They were pushing hard by the end of the morning stages, having to swap over the tyres from front to back for the last stage of the loop, in fact, to try and get the best of the little grip that was left on them. They lead the way in the B13 class at this stage, as well as 4th overall. Vivian, Hamill and Denver Rafferty joined the championship this weekend in their R5 Fiesta. They had a bit of a shakedown on the M Sport stages the week prior to the event, where they finished 12th. This weekend it will be 5th place on the leaderboard to start the day for the pair. Another formidable returning challenger to the series, but unfortunately for him, there would be issues early on for Russ Thompson. Pereira Wyn Davies alongside. They stop in stage 2 after some earlier engine-related issues after the opening stage. Frustratingly for them, the pair would go no further. First on the road for the BTRDA, but where had they got to? Gary Pearson and Niall Burns were having an issue with the brakes. The pedal going to the floor by the end of the morning loop, not what you want on these fast stages, or any stages for that matter. They were out a few weeks ago on the Argyle Rally in an R5 car, but this weekend they'd switched to the Evo 9, 6th place in the BTRDA leaderboard for now. Tom Llewellyn and Ross Whittock, meanwhile, were no strangers to a good result. Tom having gone well in an Escort in previous seasons, and Ross being the 2019 European Champion co-driver. This season, Tom will be stepping up to an R5 in the Mitsubishi Mirage. They were taking things steady while they settled into the car. No issues to report though, they lie in 7th. Gareth Sayers and Gareth Gilchrist were one of the few crews who'd been getting a bit of seat time ahead of this rally, competing on the tarmac of the Argyle Rally and the gravel of the M Sport stages in recent weeks. They end the morning with no excuses, an 8th place in their Fiesta R5. Richard Hill and Elgin Davies, meanwhile, make the switch back to an Evo this season, having competed for the previous 2 in the older Subaru. They were catching the car in front on some of the longer stages, dust of course still an issue, but apart from that, they were enjoying themselves back in a rally car, lying 2nd in the B13 class. And rounding out the top 10 would be the first of our two-wheel drive crews, which of course we'll feature in more detail in our Silver Star review. Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark, no strangers to this series and needing no introduction, putting in some good times on their local rally to lie in 10th place overall on the leaderboard and indeed lead the class with that position. The front tyres starting to go off a little by the end of the morning, but no real dramas for the Escort pair. Another pair of returning champions to the series, Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence, would enjoy being back out again in that Evo, lying in 11th place overall. Sadly, with Russ Thompson sidelined earlier in the rally, their main contender, and the fight we were all so looking forward to in the NR4 class would now be gone. That, though, wouldn't even matter by the time the pair reached service. They'd also be forced to retire, not making it back out for the afternoon stages. With the MRF car of Naylor then not returning after lunch, it would be down to Ian Joel and Graham Wood to get that branding for our title sponsors out there in their fantastic Escort Cosworth. They did have a bit of a scare when they had to rebuild the engine in the week before their rally after problems on the M Sport stages, but they made it and they were going well. Third in B13 for the pair. For Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere, the day wasn't going to plan by any stretch of the imagination. They were suffering a little with a misfire in the morning. Worst was to come though when they break a drive shaft on the rear of the Evo, having to nurse it back to service to get the car sorted before coming back out for a bit of a play, but probably no more than that in the afternoon. So we are 4 stages down. 4 to go. Not bad, is it? 4 stages in what, 18 months? Here on the Nicky Grist stages. Great to have you with us. The Gold Star leaderboard so far is looking like this. We're into the afternoon then, and a repeat of the morning stages. And there'll be some changes to our leaderboard as well. Ian Joel and Graham Wood managing to move themselves up the leaderboard to round out the top 10 in the Escort, as well as taking third in B13. A spin on the final stage of the day, thankfully, wouldn't cost Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark a position. They'd had a good gap either side of them on the results, ending the rally with the class victory and 9th place overall. Richard Hill and Elgin Davies, meanwhile, gain a place in the afternoon to end the rally with 2nd in the B13 class, as well as 8th place overall in the Evo, just pipping that Escort Cosworth to that position. For Gareth Sayers and Gareth Gilchrist, it would be 7th. A good start to the season for the pair, although it had been a close finish. Just 4 seconds ahead of Hill by the end of the rally. And having started first on the road but then dropped back, Gary Pearson and Niall Burns would have a much more productive afternoon now that the brakes had been sorted in service. They were back on the confidence, and they were still getting to grips with the change from the R5 car. But things had gone well when you reflect, as the pair take 6th place overall. A bit more attrition here in Wales. We lose Vivian, Hamill and Denver Rafferty from the results through the afternoon stages. They're forced to call it a stop in stage 6. Although we wouldn't get to see the fight, that does help this man, Tom Llewellyn, Ross Whittock alongside. They move up the results to end the rally with 5th place. A great start to their first season together in an R5 car, and only around a minute separating the top of our results as well. George Lepley and Tom Woodburn would have a gearbox issue in the later part of the day. Not something that could be fixed, so they just had to get that car home as best as they could. No rally driver likes to nurse the car home, but sometimes it is required. After so long out, they wanted to make sure they made the end. It did mean challenging for any more positions would be nigh on impossible. They end the rally a fantastic 4th place overall, though 1st in B13. We've made it. We're on to the podium positions here at the Nicky Grist stages, and it would be 3rd for Ian Bainbridge and Will Atkins. A good start to the season for the Skoda pair, and setting some fantastic stage times throughout the day, a benchmark perhaps in some respects. For Callum Black and Jack Morton, it would be 2nd place. They fixed the anti-roll bar in service, the car feeling a lot better in the afternoon, and as such the confidence reigning high. A great run for the 2019 Bronze Star winner, out this season in the R5 car and hunting that elusive, so far, Gold Star trophy.
80. Oh, that's 6 right. 150.
But for this weekend, it would be this pair on top, Elliot Payne and Cameron Fair. A superb drive in their first season together in the R5, and without the shadow of a doubt, ones to watch this season and beyond. Their time's not only enough to take the top spot in the BTRDA, but also take 6th place overall on the rally, with only crews who had done a recce finishing above them. A blinding day of rallying then comes to an end. Here's a reminder of those final Gold Star positions. Keep an eye on the page in the coming days for all of the special stage coverage from both the Silver and Bronze Star crews from the Nicky Grist stages.